Oh, I need to, let me hear it again.
สวัสดีค่ะ
Sawatita?
สวัสดีค่ะ
Sawatika?
Yeah, สวัสดีค่ะ
Okay.
Maybe like introduce.
Sawadika. Hi, I'm Nicolas Glass, the creative director of Kate Spade, New York. I've had quite a winding journey. Like I started off studying architecture in Scotland. I only studied architecture briefly. I soon realised it wasn't the right career path for me, and looking back I think I'm still interested in architecture, but I would have been frustrated at the amount of time it takes to see something completed. So you can have an idea and maybe it takes 3 or 4 years before you see the building made. So in some ways now I'm in an industry that's the complete opposite, where things happen very quickly in fashion, and I like that. After studying architecture for about 6 months, I left and went to art college and studied jewellery design. In that time I also realised that I was really interested in handbag design, so I started designing handbags in my spare time. Actually, one of the first handbags I made was inspired by a trip to Thailand, and it was, I have it at home somewhere in Ireland, but it was inspired by a pagoda. I then went to art college in London and did a master's in accessory design, and that was within the fashion department at the Royal College of Art. So it was much more of a fashion orientated course, but very much learning how to work with leather and craft handbags. And one of my first jobs out of college was I worked for Gucci, designing both handbags and jewellery. From Gucci I then worked at Michael Kors in New York. I headed up the accessory design team over 3 lines, so the collection, the Michael Kors and the men's line, for 13 years before landing at Kate Spade. So now I'm in a position where I feel I'm using all the skills I gathered along the way, because I oversee over 30 product categories here. I mean, to be honest, like being the face of the brand was not the thing that attracted me to the job. I'm getting used to doing interviews, but for me it was more exciting to be in a position to go and work for a brand like Kate Spade. To be given the role of creative director is really why I came here. I think obviously I have very deeply rooted experience in handbags and jewellery design, but I've always loved ready-to-wear, so I'm really enjoying being in a position where I'm setting the brand vision for all product categories. But Kate Spade as a brand I remember when I was younger, actually in Edinburgh studying jewellery design, when Kate Spade first launched the brand from her kitchen with 6 handbag designs, and it was a very inspiring story. That she was this entrepreneurial woman. At the time I remember like cutting out magazine articles about her, so it feels, I feel quite excited to be here now. I think it's super important. I think that social media is such a critical channel for us as a brand, and something that I think Kate Spade as a brand was quite early to embrace all avenues of social media. For me, I think it's quite an exciting and fast-moving time. I think for the customer, it's making everything more accessible, more transparent. For example, on Instagram, anybody can have the same voice or make a comment, so it's a great way for us to get feedback from our customer, whether it's positive or negative, and just to listen to it. And in another respect, I love that it's made things more accessible. So you could have a woman in Bangkok live streaming our fashion show in New York, and she's maybe even getting a better view than someone who's actually at the event. Well, I think, one aspect is it's made it more transparent. You can spend months working on a collection, and then someone can view it online the same day that you show it and flick through quickly and be like, oh, I've seen that collection, what's the next thing? So I think it's made everything really fast-paced, and maybe not always in a good way, because I think some consumers can feel they've already seen it and then the product isn't even in store till maybe 5 or 6 months later. But I do think it in a positive way. I think I also like the transparency that it's brought around how things are made or where they come from, and it's opened this very positive conversation. So I feel like as a brand, we've always really put women at the forefront, and it feels very authentic from us because it was a brand founded by a woman. Now I feel today, when I came into the company, it was really exciting to come in and realise that not only is over 85% of the employees women, but when you look at senior management, more than 85% are women. So I think, we're one of the few large fashion companies globally where both the creative director and the CEO are female. And I think that's very inspiring to people. In a way, it shows there isn't a glass ceiling. Well, first of all, I would say, I think social media can be a little bit misleading, because not to be intimidated by that, because I think someone looking on social media, there are some role models out there where people seem to be achieving success at a very quick and easy rate, when actually I think the reality is that it still takes time, and you have to have patience and put a lot of hard work into it. But I think one of the most important things is just getting as broad an experience within the industry that you can, and whether that's experience in a magazine or even working in a shop and understanding the customer. I think to just be hungry and willing to try lots of different things to learn more about the industry.